Here it is, week 12, the dreaded week with a one-game situation, or two teams with one game. Not great, but we're going to talk about what we do on this lower volume week, streaming options, how the week plays out. And on a more serious note, before I do throw it to the pre-recorded Michael Bolton, we do hope that everything is okay with Michael Bolton. He's undergoing some treatment for a brain tumor. And obviously he's been an unofficial mascot of this show for 4,000 plus episodes. So we do hope that everything is okay with Mike and that they get that sorted out and there are no long-lasting effects. And best wishes out to you, Michael Bolton. Bring us into the show.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy Basketball, your daily fantasy basketball podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and why do we cry when it's the Onions getting hurt? I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Twitter, as always, at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Thank you also for making Locked On Fantasy Basketball your first listen every day. We are free. We are available on all platforms. You a double banger? Please be a double banger. Go and bang it out on audio and then come across and watch the video. And if you're watching on the video, go and download the audio. Thumb it up and need award me and leave your comments. Very simple stuff that we do here in 2024 as we all embrace our new year, new me situation as we try to just do little changes to make ourselves better. Let's talk about week 12 in the NBA. As I mentioned and I've talked about last week as well, there is a weird week for two teams. They're going to Paris to play in the NBA Europe game. NBA might want to come down here at some point, maybe at some point. But anyway, that's fine. Brooklyn and Cleveland are off to Paris for a game in the middle of the week, so they play only one game. But that is not the only thing that is going on with the schedule this week, because it is a much lighter week. Last week, we had 20 teams play 4 games. We do not have that volume this week. Let's look at how the week actually shakes out. There is potential that you could stream every single day this week. You know, my usual stream day cutoff is 9 games. We've got 2 days where there are 10, but that depends. Sometimes you can stream on those days. We have 6 games on Monday, 5 on Tuesday, 10 on Wednesday, 5 on Thursday, 10 on Friday, 8 on Saturday, and 5 on Sunday. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, literally the perfect week in terms of volume of games on every day. No 2-game bullshits, no 14-game bullshits. The 10 is slightly high, but also not really. This is the perfect week for watching the NBA. It's the perfect week, I think, outside of the 1-game week, but it's the perfect week for playing fantasy. It's the perfect week for consumption of the league. And honestly, in my position, for doing shows and writing about it. It is perfection. This is how we should do it every single week. Savor this, because it's not always going to be as good as what that schedule would show you. So who does have the 4 games? Well, it is a very small amount. Last week, 20 teams. This week, 13. Some weeks, we have 23 teams that play 4 games. So we are in a situation where a 3-game week, or a 2 or a 1, doesn't kill you quite as much as what it would in other weeks. The 13 teams that play 4 games. Boston, the Hornets, the Bulls, the Rockets, the Pacers, Clippers, Heat, Bucks, Wolves, Thunder, Blazers, Kings, and Jazz all have 4 games for the week. We have 14 teams that play 3 games, so that's the most. The majority of teams play less than 4 games this week. Atlanta, Dallas, Denver, Detroit, the Warriors, Lakers, Grizzlies, Pelicans, Knicks, Magic, Suns, Spurs, Raptors, and Wizards all play 3 games for the week. So usually a 3-game week is not ideal, but this week it's okay. But it also means that the 4-game teams do get an additional bonus because they are in the minority. And then we go to the worst part of things, where there is one team that has a 2-game week, and that is Philadelphia. Yep, that's not great. And it gets worse for the 2 teams that have the 1 game, like I said. Brooklyn and Cleveland traveling over to Paris to play that European game. That is on Thursday, so they play Thursday, and that is it. It happens every year. I feel like Brooklyn is involved in it every single year as well. Maybe I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure they went over last year and played the Bulls, if I'm correct. All right, let's look at the quality game situation. I should have created like a graphic that I put up every time I talk quality games to explain what it is. I'll just do it now. It is a game that is played on a day where there are 9 or fewer games. That is what a quality game is. That is more beneficial for streaming. So how does it work out? Well, it's an interesting week schedule-wise, but it's also an interesting week quality game-wise. They are spread out. There is one team, the Bucks, who have 4 quality games. There are 4 teams, the Mavericks, the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Suns, who have 3 quality games, but that's their entire schedule. So they max out. And like we always like to say, it's not always about volume. It's about when those games occur, because there are a lot of 4-game teams that only play 2 quality games. So your Hornets, Bulls, Rockets, Pacers, Clippers, Heat, Wolves, Kings, and Jazz only have 2 quality games, whereas these teams all have 3. The Celtics also have 3 as a 4-team week, and the Blazers and the Thunder do as well. But then you got like the Hawks, who play 3 games for the week. They've only got 1 quality game, which is exactly the same amount of quality games as both the Nets and the Cavs. So a stream player from the Hawks, the Nuggets, the Pistons, the Warriors, the Pelicans, the Spurs, and the Raptors has about the same value as a 1-game Nets and Cavs guy. So when you're considering, hey, do I drop a back-end Karis LeVert type of player? Just think that there's not as many options. Like when we talk Denver, like who would I even have put in that zone, or Contavious Caldwell-Pope pretty easily. But like on the surface, it looks they're playing 3 games. But 2 of them are Wednesday, Friday, and you might not even use them. It's always about your individual schedule, your individual roster makeup, and how it looks. I try and cover the majority of type situations here. But this is just an idea to have a look, and just don't think 3 is greater than 1. It might be the same. Philadelphia plays 2 games on Wednesday and Friday. So your Kelly Oubre's, D'Anthony Melton, maybe, probably not. I still hold him. Nick Batum, those guys you might literally play 0 times for the week. Versus a Nets player, like if you're considering, well, I'm going to drop Cam Johnson because he's got 1 game, you might use him more than you would use Kelly Oubre this week. And sometimes that is a hard concept to completely grasp. Like I said, Philadelphia has 0 quality games for the week. And there's a wide spread of quality games. There's a 4, there's a lot of 3s, there's a lot of 2s, there's a lot of 1s, there's a lot of teams that miss out on 2 quality games because they play Wednesday, Friday. So yeah, a little bit of a different type of schedule for the week. Today's episode is brought to you by the GameTime app. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. Why would you need to? This is something we want to do for fun. And having a stress-free situation where the pricing on a ticket is hard to gauge, where you don't know what your seat's actually going to look like, well, that's all the thing of the past with the Game Time, because it takes the worry out of buying tickets and takes the guesswork out of buying your tickets. They got last-minute tickets. They got flash deals where they chuck a notification up on your phone, a noti up on your phone, and say, hey, something's going on. Do you want to go down and have a look? We've got some cheaper deals. You might want to go see something happening to see local sports team take on local sports team rival. That might be happening tonight in your local area. Some of the pop-up ads you get for things that might be happening in your local area may not be as savory as going to see a local sports team. So go to Get Game Time to take the guesswork out of buying those tickets. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. I, for one, know that I'd love to buy tickets off Game Time for something happening in my local area. All those horny MILFs, got something else, something better to do tonight. What do we need to talk about now? Stream Zone. Oh my God, I still haven't had the chance to make something that I feel comfortable or feel good about putting up there, but that's fine. Stream Zone. So it is a little bit of a harder week, and we love to start off our streaming schedule for the week, again, under the assumption you've got 4 waiver ads for the week. By looking, hey, what do we do Monday, Tuesday? Let's get things started with a nice back-to-back, but nobody plays. There's no Monday, Tuesday back-to-back, so we can't do that. And then we know there are 10 games on Wednesday, so we might not be able to stream on a Wednesday. If you are in a situation where you have full lineup Wednesday and full lineup Friday, well, your stream options are limited. You can't do a Monday, Tuesday back-to-back. Basically, you're going, I'll add someone Monday, I'll add someone Tuesday, I'll add someone Thursday, and then I'll attack the weekend back-to-back with this one team that plays Saturday, Sunday, and it's the Bucks, and you might not have good stream options there anyway. So it is a tough week to plan that out. Now, if you do have the ability to use someone on a Wednesday, we can get something out of it. On Monday, you can just do whatever. You can either sit on it, hey, Fonzie, hey. You can either, on Monday, you can wait and add someone if you want, or you can just leave it alone, and then you can try a Tuesday-Wednesday combo where there are 4 teams. Detroit, Minnesota, Sacramento, and Toronto. So a Trey Lyles. You wouldn't try a Fanta Pants or a Chris Duarte, but you might try a Harrison Barnes. You would use a Jaden McDaniels, a Kyle Anderson, a Naz Reid. You would use a Jaden Ivey, a Kevin Knox perhaps for Toronto. You might use Gary Trent if he's available and stream the Tuesday, Wednesday. Then you'd head to Thursday, Friday where it's Portland. Portland waived Skylar Mays, Standard League legend Skylar Mays today, and Ish Wainwright. They're going to have to sign someone into that spot. I expect that they elevate Dwop Reith, who's been really good as a two-way guy. Doesn't give me a lot of faith in DeAndre Ayton's knee moving forward, to be honest. But if Ayton is still out Thursday, Friday, Reith would be a good stream there. Brogdon's only playing like 15, 16 minutes a night at the moment, maybe more if it's not a blowout. But a back-to-back would make him more useful. Obviously, Scoot and Sharp and those sort of players. And then from Thursday, Friday, we transition to Saturday, Sunday, where it's the Bucks, where it's Beasley and Portis and maybe a Connaughton or a Payne in that scenario. But you shit out of luck if you've got a full roster Wednesday, Friday. Your streaming options are just so marginal. You have to do Monday, then you can do a Tuesday, Thursday combo, then you do a Saturday, Sunday combo. But that doesn't give you 5 games for 3 ads. It's okay, but it's not perfect. So it is a little bit of a harder week to really squeeze a lot out in terms of streaming. So what are the schedule quirks for the week? Brooklyn, Cleveland, Detroit, Philadelphia, and Toronto don't play on the weekend. Obviously, Brooklyn and Cleveland are traveling back from Paris. They don't play again until Monday after get their game on Thursday. So that'll be an early game on Thursday as well. Be aware of that for setting lineup. So Brooklyn, Cleveland don't play across the weekend. Detroit, Philadelphia, Toronto, either. No surprise with Philadelphia, given they've only got 2 games, and they're both on the high-volume days. So be aware that when you're looking to stream some of these players in, and we already talked about the value of streaming in Detroit and Toronto earlier in the week, is that when you get to the weekend, you don't have to hold on to these guys. There's no games there. There's no team that has a 3-day break outside of the 2 Paris teams, so there's no weird big gaps in the middle. There's no gigantic gaps between quality games for this week either. But what we do know is that there is just really no back-to-backs, which is just a gigantic W. I said there are 17 total back-to-backs. That might seem like a lot. It's really not. There's no team that has 2 back-to-backs. That's 17 out of 30 teams that has 1 back-to-back for the week. That is not a big amount at all. Like, not even remotely close. And that is why our streaming stuff is a lot harder to do this week. 17 total back-to-backs for the week is a small amount. It is a very small amount. How many games actually go on in an NBA week? I'm trying to think. I guess I could go back to that first slide and add them up, but you know what? I'm not going to do that. Let's look at the 3 games in 4 nights. Let's break this week up into some little chunks, starting Sunday through Wednesday. Denver, the Clippers, the Wolves, the Kings, and the Raptors have 3 games in 4 nights. Remembering Wednesday's a 10-game day, but there's a little bit of chunk value in these guys. So a Norman Powell, a Jaden McDaniels, a Naz Reid, the Kings guys like I talked about, Trey Lyles, not Herder, Harrison Barnes. For Toronto, you're looking at a Gary Trent. Chris Boucher played a lot last game. That's likely just because Jakob Poeltl was in foul trouble and ended up fouling out, so I wouldn't overreact to Jakob Poeltl. Monday through Thursday, so the actual start of week 12, it's only Boston and OKC. There is that obviously game on Wednesday with the higher volume day there, but they both play on that Wednesday. There is the 3 games in 4 nights for these guys. For OKC, that just helps a little bit of Lou Dort. Josh Giddey, obviously, if he's available. And Boston, well, you don't have much there. It's Al Horford probably, but given there is a back-to-back on Wednesday, Thursday, he is going to sit one of those games for Slam and Sammy Hauser. Maybe Luke Cornett jumps up too. Tuesday, Friday, you got 5 teams: Detroit, Minnesota, Portland, Sacramento, and Toronto. Already highlighted that Portland's got that Thursday, Friday back-to-back combo, so a Drop Reith is in that mix. Ibu Baji for the Deepers, Jabari Walker if he ends up getting healthy as well. I think we've talked about all those other teams there also. And then Wednesday, Saturday, a lot of teams have 3 games in the middle of the week, real concentration of games in the middle of the week. Atlanta, Boston, Chicago, Golden State, Houston, the Pelicans, the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Jazz play 3 games in 4 nights. One thing that is important to note, and I'm sure most of you understand this or realize this, but not always, 3 games in 4 nights means there's a back-to-back in there. Has to. That's just how it works, right? So when you're looking at this, 3 games in 4 nights, you know that there's going to be a game sat by Al Horford in Boston. Does Levine sit a back-to-back for the Bulls? Maybe. Don't think the Warriors are going to be doing anything. Obviously, Chris Paul injured for them, and I just missed that. Yeah, no news of his broken hand on yesterday's recap. He's going to be out 4+ weeks here for sure. Without IL, you drop him. Pajemski's the clear ad. Deeper leagues, you look at Moody. That's got to be real deep, like 16-team stuff, and Corey Joseph in those 20-team leagues. But this really helps Pajemski. Someone asked, because I said it helps Kuminga, they said, how does it help Kuminga? Well, the way that it helps Kuminga is that Chris Paul was obviously starting playing point guard, right? And now that means that he's not. I know that sounds stupid, but it means that Steph doesn't play at the 2 as much. So Steph plays at the 1. And yes, Pajemski was already playing 28 minutes a night, so maybe he gets 2 to 3 more a night. But then the other 27 minutes that Chris Paul was playing, they've got to go somewhere. And it's not Kuminga replacing Chris Paul. It's Steph sliding down. It's Clay sliding down. It's Kuminga perhaps sliding down as well. But also not guys like Wiggins or Clay pushing up into that position. It all does trickle down a little bit. Because when you're in a situation where you've got to give Steph 34 and you've got to give Paul 31, and then sometimes you play Pajemski at the 3, meaning that Wiggins has to play the 4. Clay will sometimes occasionally play the 4. And that's just extra competition for what Kuminga does. Whereas they all slide back down 1 to cover up those 31 minutes. Again, Pajemski was already at 28, so he maybe only gets 3 or 4 more. And I don't think those other 27 just go straight onto Moody and Joseph. They don't just play 14 apiece or one gets 20. There's a little bit more safety in and bloody Kuminga played 36 yesterday anyway. There you go. There's the explanation that you didn't know that you wanted, or you actually probably didn't want. So who plays the Wednesday, Saturday? We went through a lot of that there. Well, I already did that. The Spurs, Wembanyama means he's going to sit a game there. Utah, I don't think they're going to sit anyone. The Pelicans and Zion, but more importantly, Trey Murphy. Tari, this season, I'm worried about Tari Eason's leg. Stress reaction in his leg. Maybe came back too early because now he's missing games again with soreness. That to me suggests there's a problem. There is maybe a setback, and maybe that is more weeks out. Haven't heard that. But the way that Ime Udoka said that, he's getting a lot of pain from this problem, he's going to be on some sort of a minutes restriction here, and then he's missing games, that to me says, yeah, we are worried about maybe a hotspot or something like that developing, and that could be more time out. And if I'm in a desperate situation, remember, Eason's not a starter. He's like a 26-minute-a-night player who also might play 8 minutes each half and get 16 minutes only, and he's uncertain with minutes, and he's uncertain with playing, and he's uncertain with injury. That is not 100% a must-hold situation. It is in a lot of spots, but it's not like, man, I've just got to wait for Eason. This is not like, Trae Young got hurt. This is not like bloody Fred VanVleet got hurt on this team. It's a reserve who could be 20 minutes, could be 25 minutes. And we all love what he does, but that's worrying. Yep. All right. Thursday through Sunday to end the week, Milwaukee and Portland. Milwaukee's got the Saturday, Sunday back-to-back. Portland's got the Thursday, Friday back-to-back. They're the only teams with that little clump at the end. So Leaky Beasley, Bobby Portis, Paddy Connaughton, and then it's Reith, it's Sharp, it's maybe Brogdon, Kamara, Thibault, if he's even healthy, towards the end on Portland. Portland's an absolute mess at the moment, like a horrible, horrible mess, and there's not a lot of clarity going on there, unfortunately. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. The NFL regular season is wrapping up. In fact, it's going to be wrapped up tomorrow, I believe. There's still time, though, to get on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 redos in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. I should clarify that because dollar redos isn't a real currency. I actually mean real, cold, hard US currency, the old greenback. $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. You don't have to do a money line bet. You don't have to win. You just got to do it. Just put the bet in. Done. Easy. And the app is so easy to use. There are so many different ways to bet, including live same-game parlays. Find bets in the new Explore tab and make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays and more. Let me give you a little tip. I'm not going to give you a betting tip, but I'm going to tell you something. You don't have to, in doing player props, you don't have to bet overs. You don't have to bet overs. Everyone loves betting overs. Bet some unders. I think you'll have more success. Maybe. Anyway, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make your first bet a layup. Oh, finger roll. That's how finger roll layup. Let's do something better. Up and under, whatever. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. It's an early Sunday morning here. Don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, let's. We've done the 3s and 4s. There are no 4-game in 4 night stints, which is great. The NBA has basically eliminated those, which is awesome. 4-game in 6 nights starting on Sunday. Detroit, the Clippers, the Wolves, the Blazers, the Kings, and the Raptors. So a bit of a squishy schedule for those guys. So you watch the load on some of these players, especially like the Clippers guys. Just be careful about that. Monday through Saturday, these are all 4-game teams, and then, so their week is over by Saturday. Boston, Chicago, Houston, the Thunder, and the Jazz. So they're 4-game teams, and then by Sunday they're done. So your fringe players on those teams: DeSumo, Pat Williams, Drummond, if you've still got him for some reason. Maybe it's Eason. Thunder, it's probably Dort. Your Jazz, it's a million different options: Clarkson, Sexton, Olynyk, George. You can probably drop him to get someone in on Sunday. In a lot of cases. And then the second half of the week, Minnesota, Portland, and Sacramento play their 4 games from Tuesday through Sunday. So they don't play Monday, and then we backload a little bit on those guys. 5 games in 8 nights. Starting on Sunday of week 11. Clippers, Wolves, Blazers, Kings. Heavy schedule. Watch the Clippers. They played, I think, 3 2-game weeks early in the season. So that at some point, that has to catch up to you, right? You have to get an overloaded schedule if you play a shit schedule in terms of volume early on. And this is where I don't think that Paul George and Kawhi are going to routinely sit or anything like that, but it's just something to keep in mind when the schedule overloads a little bit, that we've got to be cautious of it, because this is how teams plan this shit out. Their sports science staff, their medical staff, there's a lot of stuff regarding load and injury-bearing stuff in terms of the travel, where the travel's involved, and the load of playing 5 games in 8 nights is a lot. And sometimes they're like, well, maybe it's not a great idea. Maybe we pull the minutes down a little bit or something. Just watch it. Monday through Monday, starting week 12, heading into week 13, there are 7 teams that play 5 games in 8 nights. Boston, bad for Al Horford. Chicago, not good for 2 guys coming off injuries, Levine and Vooch. Houston, Tyree Eason, bad moment. Indiana, they'll be fine. Miami, general soreness. Found out that apparently Australians don't do the salute like this. I don't know what we do, because I don't really pay any attention to Australian military, nor do I pay attention to any military, but US military propaganda is all through media, TV, and movies, so I see that one a lot. I don't know what, I think we do something like that. I don't even know, but I saw it yesterday that apparently we don't do the salute. Anyway, general soreness. OKC and Utah have the 5 games in 8 nights as well, beginning on Monday. Let's look at our back-to-backs. Sunday to Monday, ending week 12, ending week 11, heading into week 12. The Clippers and the Suns. Don't expect a rest from Kawhi, but you never know. Kevin Durant, hamstring legend. He is not playing those games. He might play one of them. There is no way he plays both of them. I think Beal is fine. He's already played back-to-backs. Booker will be fine. There's no way Durant is playing both of those games. I don't know what I'm going to do, but there's just no... And if he does... Oh my God, that team is going to cop an absolute roasting, and they will not care, because I am nobody and they don't care what I say. Unless they're the Hornets, who got sick of me telling them that they were being absolute ass clowns for listing Mark Williams doubtful, and then they listed him out. So maybe I can make a difference. Small things. Monday, Tuesday, no one has a back-to-back. Tuesday, Wednesday, I've got the asterisk there on Wednesday because it is a higher volume day. But you've got Detroit, Minnesota, Sacramento, Toronto with the Tuesday-Wednesday combination. Tuesday, Thursday is the pseudo back-to-back, which is, eliminating that game in the middle, the higher volume Wednesday. So adding someone on Tuesday, you get them on Thursday, you might not need it on Wednesday. So we've got Dallas, the Lakers, the Knicks, and the Blazers. So if you don't have that ability to stream in on the higher volume days, this is where you pay more attention. The Mavs, there is value in the guys like a Derek Jones, a Tim Hardaway, maybe a Jaden Hardy, probably not. The Lakers, who knows? Who knows? Taurean Prince probably is the guy, maybe Christian Wood, maybe Hachimura if he returns. The Knicks, Grimes, DiVincenzo, Hart. Don't know. And Portland, we've discussed a lot. Wednesday, Thursday, the high volume Wednesday there. Boston and OKC have that back-to-back. So we're going to see an absence there from Al Horford, I'm guessing. Is that correct? Double check that. Yes, it is. I don't know why I doubted myself here. Boston, Oklahoma City got the Wednesday, Thursday back-to-back. Thursday, Friday, leading into the high volume Friday. That is the Portland Trailblazers, as I mentioned. Thursday, Saturday is a pseudo back-to-back. There are a lot of teams with this combination, avoiding the Friday even. You've got Boston, Dallas, the Lakers, the Bucks, the Knicks, and the Thunder. This is in the middle of that 3-game in 4-night stretch for 8 teams in the middle of the week. Friday, Saturday, tons. Just 9 teams with a back-to-back. Atlanta, Chicago, the Warriors, the Rockets, the Grizzlies, Pelicans, Magic, Spurs, and Jazz. A lot of injuries cropping up in Orlando, so watch that one there. And a lot of the other teams we're already worried about. Chicago, Golden State, no, probably not. Pelicans, obviously, Orlando, Wemby and the Spurs, Utah and whatever they're doing. So some worries there for sure. And then on the weekend, the back-to-back, it is one team. And we would love... The only time I really want a back-to-back for fantasy purposes is a weekend back-to-back, because that really does help our streaming out. I don't want any back-to-backs to exist ever, because that lead to worse basketball and more injuries. But if we're going to have them, put them on the Saturday, Sunday. It's only the Bucks who have got it. Let's look at some weekly 9 category league ads. What's a weekly ad? I've heard you ask before. It is a league where you can change the lineup once a week only. So these guys, it's not important what the schedule is. It's just get games in. It doesn't matter if they're high volume or low volume days. It does not matter. So the 2 top names that I'd look to add are 2 players actually under an injury cloud. The Rabbit Hunter Alex Caruso and Aaron Nesmith. Caruso missed the last game. Of course he did. And Nesmith got hurt in the last game. Now, I don't know whether Nesmith's actually been cleared to play in the Pacers game today. I'm just going to have a look. I don't believe he has been. Just double checking that. Nope, he has not been cleared to play yet. So we need to have a look at whether he's available, but there's 4 games for these guys. I don't expect that Mark Williams is back, so Big Dick Nick Richards. Even if Williams comes back, Richards will be worth it with 4 games. I'm going to put the guy that apparently I famously hate. I don't hate. I'm just pretty realistic about his fantasy ability. Lou Dort. And then two couple of Jazz guys, Kelly Olynyk and Simone Fontecchio. On their own, I don't think they're must-roster players, but the schedules favors them, then go for it. We saw the downside of Fontecchio after 3 pretty good games. He had a stinker yesterday because that's sort of the player he is. And Olynyk, well, you might get 6, 9, and 7, or you might get 4, 2, and 3, or you might get 9, 10, 11, and 8 if he plays 27 minutes. But the 4 games probably puts the odds forever in your favor. In terms of the teams that are playing either 2 games or 1 game, Brooklyn, Cleveland, and Philadelphia, who would I start in a standard weekly league? Well, it's just the 2 stars on Philadelphia, Embiid and Maxey. You don't mess with anybody on Cleveland. You don't mess with anybody on Brooklyn. The only way I would look at it is if I'm in like a 20-team league, I would probably start Donovan Mitchell. I wouldn't start Bridges or Johnson or Claxton. I wouldn't start Jarrett Allen. It'd have to be like a 30-team league. In a 20-teamer, I would look at Donovan Mitchell, and that is really about it. And that is definitely about it for today's show. So, you know what to do. You go over and you listen to the audio side, you hear my voice, and then you come across and you see my face and you see how my lips move to match the words. And you do that over on the YouTube side. And when you're there, you hit subscribe, you hit thumbs up. We're hitting Operation 80K. You ring the bell, and of course, you leave a comment down below. Maybe we'll respond to this comment here. What can we say that's controversial? Steve Kerr is overrated, and Mark Jackson's actually the one that set up the Golden State Warriors dynasty, and he's been blackballed out of the league, and he needs a new job right now. Maybe he should take over the Lakers position from Darvin Ham, or maybe they reunite him back with his old Warriors team and leads them to the promised land. Mark Jackson, you're my GOAT. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.